Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. We always try to make it a very informative meeting for you, so we're glad you're taking an hour out of your Friday morning for us. But welcome to the Rural Utah Chamber Coalition meeting, and we are just going to turn the time over. I think Abby, are you there, Abby? Oh, there she is. We're just going to turn the time over to Abby, and we'll just get going on our agenda. So.
Okay, so just going over the calendar events that we have coming up and that we had, I attended the One Utah Summit that was held up in Layton earlier this month, and it was great. It was really informative. It was more geared towards like Davis and Weber County kind of thing, more businesses up there, but they did mention several times about rural Utah and the things that were going on there. So I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And the food was fantastic. So love that. We do want to tell you that we do, thanks to Stephen Lisenby, we've got the dates for the One Utah Summit down at SUU, and that'll be October 2nd through the 4th. So plan on attending that. Go ahead and mark those dates off because that's the best one.
I mean, let me add something real quick. So there is going to be a Rural Utah Chamber Coalition breakaway, and that really is an amazing event for networking. We're working really hard on getting all the chambers one free ticket. So just please get it on your calendars. We'll let you know more as it gets closer. Okay, go Abby.
Okay, and then we've got the ACCE conference. That's the Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives, and that's July 31st through August 3rd in Salt Lake. So that's a national convention. And so if, we'll get information out next week on how you can actually attend that at a discounted rate too. So, and then we're going to turn this over to Colette. She's going to talk about what's coming up for us.
Right. Thank you so much. So we have a couple goals that we want to accomplish with the Rural Utah Chamber Coalition. And part of it is these monthly meetings that we can bring you valuable resources that you can immediately utilize and stay up on current issues. But we also want to help make sure that you have a good solid foundation with some quarterly chamber trainings. And so we've broken these trainings down into 3 parts. One will be the politics of being political, which we know there is an element of that for sure. And we wanted to make sure that we did that in June because we know that some of you will be involved with the primaries coming up. And then next we have in August, the chamber foundations, where we'll talk about the bylaws, the foundations, the organization of your chamber. And also when it comes to money, taxes, some of those things that are not so fun about running a chamber. And then in October, we'll bring you information about sharing ideas for events and fundraising, because that, of course, is a huge part of what we do. It's 90% of what we do. And then lastly, in February, we'll bring in marketing for chambers. And we've just put a few of the topics listed on this flyer that we'll send out to everyone, but there's so much more. We've got, dozens of highlights within each topic that we'll be sharing with you, and we'll be calling on some of you to present during these trainings. So again, please mark your calendars for the 4th Tuesday of the month for June, August, and October.
Thanks, Colette. Okay, so one of, I think, our biggest parts of these meetings, what makes them valuable is we do have government representatives come on, and they kind of keep us updated, let us know what's going on in their world. And so we're going to turn the time over to Kyle Wilson. He's with Romney's office. So Kyle, will you introduce yourself? And then we'll just give you the floor for.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, my name is Kyle Wilson, and I am the outreach director who works with the southwestern 11 counties in Utah. I am thrilled to be here. And there are a few things that I wanted to bring up to everyone. One being, and you guys may have heard of it, the Department of Interior and the Bureau of Land Management have proposed a rule that would add conservation or non-use and non-management to the list of federally designated multiple uses of public land. And that has obvious repercussions for the ag industry, but for the recreation industry specifically as well. And we're terribly worried about not only what this will do to local economies, but museum management of public land is just a bad philosophy. So it's something that we're pushing back against relatively hard and from as many angles as possible. We introduced a bill with Senator Brasso from Wyoming that would block the BLM rule. It has 8 co-sponsors, including Senator Lee. So that's something that we're working on from that front. But the comment period for public comment closes on June 20th, and so we encourage everybody to go put a thoughtful comment about what that will do to your towns, counties, cities, and so on and so forth. Another bill that we are working on is a bill to strengthen some ties with Southeastern Asian countries, and that bill was advanced in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So we're pretty excited and hopeful and optimistic about that one also. And what's kind of at the forefront of most folks' minds when they think of Congress right now is the debt talks. And frankly, we're pretty frustrated with President Biden and his unwillingness to even have discussions on the subject, which is super ironic because he personally voted to not raise the debt ceiling about 6 times when he was a senator. But, yeah, so those are some things we're working on. We co-sponsored a bill with Senator Lee to transfer a research park at the University of Utah to the school. There's some conflict there with the Bureau of Land Management and the way that was that allowed the school to use that property. So that's likewise something we're working on. We're here to help should any of your towns, cities, and organizations need us to connect dots with funding sources or anything to that effect. I mean, we love what we do. We love Utah, and we're just happy to be here. So please reach out if we can do anything for you.
Thanks, Kyle. We appreciate it. And thanks for being here. Okay, now I'm going to turn the time over to Colette for our presentations.
All right. So it is hospitality and tourism season in most of our areas. And because hospitality and tourism makes up such a huge part of our economy, I wanted to bring to you some resources today that will really add value to your communities. We've got Mayor Bruno from the town of Springdale, and we've got Pat Guerrero from Kanab Chamber, and Chris McCormick with Cedar City Chamber. And all of our areas here just across the bottom part of the state are just, kicking off so busy. And sometimes it's hard to, again, keep up with what the needs of our tourism-based businesses are. But the one thing that we can help them with is to help them get some training. And so I want to introduce you to Brad Anderson with Blueprint. And I've worked with Brad for the past 8 years in Southern Utah, working on training projects. And we have utilized funding with Custom Fit in order to pay for these trainings for our communities. And I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen here. Can everyone see the slides okay? Give me a thumbs up.
Yes, we can see them.
Okay, fantastic. So you can take a quick snap of Brad's contact information. I'll have it at the end again, and we'll also send it out in our newsletter. But these are just a few of the entities that Brad has trained with. You can see that he's been all over the state and has spoken even through the governor's office of economic opportunity, office of tourism, and also at the state conference, state tourism conference. And so he's very familiar with our area and our needs. And again, all of this would not be possible without a partnership, a great partnership that we have with Custom Fit. So I'm going to let Kaden McBride unmute and have him just give us a quick overview about what Custom Fit is and how we utilize these dollars for training for hospitality and tourism businesses.
Thanks, Colette. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all of your time in this call. My name is Kaden McBride. I'm the business training manager of Southwest Tech. And what that means is not only do I put together trainings for our area where I can find the instructor and meet the business needs by training your employees or giving you access to skills that you may otherwise have access to. I also work with Custom Fit. And Custom Fit is a program that is administered by USHE. It's funded by appropriations from the legislature, and it allows all the technical colleges to assist businesses and for-profit enterprises in Utah by reimbursing them. In our area, it's up to 40% of the cost of those trainings. And those trainings can be a variety of things. In our area, we see a lot of people who apply for continuing education reimbursement for CPAs or doctors. We also have businesses that will work with people like Brad and have him come in, and they'll train their employees in a certain skill, and then they'll apply for that reimbursement, and we can help them pay for that. So it can help basically as an economic development fund source, keep employees trained at the level that you need them to be, help with your new employee training, especially where we see a lot of turnover in tourism industry. And it can also help you explore some new avenues of other things that you might want to do with your business. And so if you have any questions, I recommend you reach out to your local technical college. I know in Stampede and Sevier County, it's actually Snow College, but I've just pasted a link to the Custom Fit web page for the state into the chat. And from there, you can locate the individual institutions that represent your area. For my area, if you're curious, Southwest Tech will oversee Garfield, Kane, Beaver, and Iron County. So if you live in those areas, I, Taylor, or Tessa would be the one to talk to. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to provide my information. But just as a quick plug for Brad, if you ever want to work with Brad, I highly recommend him. He's been one of the most professional and competent trainers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. But that about wraps it up for me. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Kaden. Do we have any questions from the audience?
And we'll make sure we get all this information on the newsletter. So go in and chat down the information he gave us on the chat, but also know we'll make sure that information is available to you guys.
Fantastic. Okay, well, we're going to jump right into Brad's presentation then.
Great. Thank you, Colette and Kaden. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I was very excited to get a call from Colette several weeks ago asking if I would jump on and engage with our group here today. And I said, well, gosh, Colette, you know, how long do I have? An hour, 2 hours? Do you want a 3-hour class? And she said, you have 20 minutes. And so I said, okay, well, what topic should we touch on? Because there's a variety of things that we do at Blueprint, everything from customer service training to sales training to leadership development. And I've worked with so many of your areas. She said, Brad, I really would love for you to talk about the birds. And the birds is a topic that we use when we're training customer service, but also sales and selling and leadership development. And the whole concept with the birds, there are 4 of them, and we'll advance to the next slide so you can see them. There are 4 bird styles that we like to talk about when we talk about selling to people or delivering a higher level of service, or if we're trying to lead and motivate a particular type of employee. And if we can figure out what someone's personality is, we can sell more, we can give better service, and we can get our staff more excited to come to work every day. And so Colette and I both agreed this would be a great way to fill that 20-minute slot of time that we have this morning. And so I could sit and talk about these, but I think it would be so much more fun if we acted them out. And so what I thought that we would do is I'd call on a couple of you to jump on, unmute, and I'm going to ask you to be a Chamber of Commerce office, and I'm going to be calling you, acting one of these birds out. And we'll just do it for about 10, 20 seconds, and we'll give everybody a chance to see if they can figure out what type of bird I am. And so, Colette, let's go ahead to the next slide. And so we've got 4 birds: owl, peacock, eagle, and dove. And I'm going to ask Chris from Cedar. Chris, are you with us still?
Mentally, yes.
Okay. You've been the first one that's been voluntold to help me here. Are you okay with that?
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So Chris, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ring, ring, ring. I'm going to have you answer the phone like you're at the chamber office. I'm going to act out one of these bird styles, eagle, owl, peacock, or dove. And we'll see if the group today can figure out what bird I'm acting like. You just get to be yourself. I'll do all the acting. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
Okay. All right. Really good. So here we go. Ring, 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 ring.
Hey, hello.
Yeah. Is this the Cedar Chamber?
It sure is.
Yeah. What do you guys charge for your membership there? Yeah.
Hey, we
Just
have four.
come on in. I'll be with you in a second. Grab a seat. Tell her I'll be with 5 minutes. Huh? How much?
Hey, it's $480. We want to help you out.
$480. But
That's-
what do I get for that?
Hey, let me tell you, first off, you get to
You
hang
guys
out with
take
us.
Visa card? You take Visa, MasterCard? How do I pay for this?
We take cash.
Tell her, no, tell her, just give me 5 seconds. I'm on the,
Ladies.
this will take 4 seconds. Yeah. Hello,
Hello.
Chris?
Hello.
Yeah. How much is that? All right. All right. We'll stop. We'll stop right there. And any guesses? If you want to chat them over, feel free. I'll kind of watch the box, or feel free to jump on. Oh, I've got somebody thinking of peacock, and a couple people peacock. Pat, you're the first one in with the right answer. Colette, let's go ahead and advance the slide. This is definitely the eagle. Eagle is all about quick, efficient, fast pace. They don't have time to listen to what you're saying. They tend to cut you off. It's all about getting through the information and making it quick and efficient. We'll jump to the next slide. Just a couple of quick pointers, whether we're talking about selling more or whether we're talking about better service. If you get an eagle that calls you or walks in your office, ladies and gentlemen, you have to give them choices. They like to pick from between A and B. Never tell them what you're going to do for them or how you're going to fix a problem or a challenge. You always give them at least 2 choices. Makes them feel like they're in control. Anytime you can limit the chit chat, they're all about getting down to business. So the more efficient you can be, the quicker you can be, the happier they're going to be with you. They prefer someone that's businesslike and professional and more on the serious side. And then one other quick point, if there's a problem, don't keep saying I'm sorry and long drawn out apologies. They don't need a lot of that. You really want to get into fixing the problem fast, quick, and efficient. If you do that, they're going to love you that much more. I really like the eagle. They can be a very difficult customer to interact with because they are kind of demanding. You don't get a lot of pleases and thank yous. But if the eagle falls in love with you, they're extremely loyal and they will tell their other friends to do business with you. And so the eagle is about 10% of the population here in the US. And Chris, I want to thank you very much. I know this is a quick one, but I could talk about the eagle for an hour. I appreciate your help. You did a great job. Colette, we're going to jump on to the next one. And next, I'm hoping Nate is with us. Nate, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. And Nate, you're up in Vernal, correct?
I am.
All right, excellent. So we'll kind of do the same thing, Nate. I'll give you a couple of rings. We're going to have you answer the phone like you're at the chamber office. And just a couple of seconds of role play here. And I've got a quick costume change. All right, so Nate, ring, ring, ring.
This is Nate from the Vernal Area Chamber of Commerce. What can I do for you?
Hi, is this the Vernal Chamber of Commerce?
It is.
Vernal, Utah?
Vernal, Utah, you betcha.
Okay. Yes, we're considering opening a business there in the community, and I wanted to know what you charge for your membership dues.
Okay. Is there certain things that you're interested in, or you just want to know in general what we charge?
Well, I'd like to know it all. So just tell me everything.
Okay. So why don't we go ahead and from start to finish? So first of all, what brought you to the Chamber of Commerce?
Well, I read online, I did some research that 8% of all US small businesses fail because they don't network. It's my understanding that joining a chamber membership would give me the opportunity to network. Is that correct?
That is very true.
Now, I do have another question. If I go out of business, would I get my membership back?
Although I think everybody would really appreciate that. That's really sometimes not how it works. So,
Okay. All right, we're going to stop right there. Nate, thank you very much. Nice job. And again, if you think you know this bird, I've got, yes, owl. Thank you. I see we got a couple people coming in with owl. So Colette, we'll go ahead and change the slide. There we go. 15% of the owl. Let me give you a couple of pointers or tips for the owl on the next slide. With owl, these can be very, very lengthy transactions, whether it's customer service or sales or selling. I always recommend groups I'm working with to really limit how many choices you give someone. And kudos to Nate, he started to ask some questions. If you don't ask a couple of questions to find out what someone wants, you end up having to go through everything, and it makes for a very lengthy and long transaction. The owl loves some type of takeaway. So if you can email them a link to the information or hand them something if it's face-to-face. I love when you're interacting with an owl to show that you're listening. And one of my favorite tips is to kind of reach in, grab your chin, show that you're engaged in what they're saying. A little technique and tactic that I give a lot of groups I'm working with is when you're looking at someone in a face-to-face interaction, do you remember the color of their eyes after you walk away? Did you make enough good eye contact with them? And the owl loves eye contact. Also, if you can focus on really specific dates and times that you're going to get information over to someone or some type of follow-up, they love specific, very specific information. And they're just a nut for statistics. And if an owl calls you, by the way, they tend to be very monotone on a phone call. I really appreciate Nate up in Vernal helping us out today. Thank you, Nate. And I'm going to go next to Abby. Abby, if you'll help me out on this next one. And you're in Nephi, correct?
I am.
Great. All right, Abby. So well, we've got two left. I don't know if anyone's following. We've got the peacock and the dove left to go. So again, another chamber call. I'll call in asking some information and let you roll with it. Okay. All right. And ring, 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 ring.
Hi, this is the Greater Nephi Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, who am I talking to?
This is Abby Ivory. I'm the.
Abby. Oh my God, my sister's name is Abby. That is so, what a small world.
It's a great name.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, she lives up in Minnesota.
Well, what can I do for you?
Yeah,
today?
she just had her second baby, 2 boys. You know, one's 5, one's 6.
Describe us. What can I do for you today? How can I help you out?
Yeah. So Abby, can you hear me? Okay, I'm calling on my new iPhone 17, and I just want to make sure you can hear me. Okay.
Yeah, you sound perfect.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, we're looking at opening up a hair salon, and I just like, you know, the hair salons in town, none of them are any good. I mean, so we need a decent hair salon, and we're going to be so much better than everybody else. And I wanted to see about a chamber membership.
That we would love to have you join our business community. We just happen to be the premier one in Joab County.
Love it. Love it. Oh my God, that's awesome. All right, we'll stop right there.
I really probably would be making a lot of faces behind the scenes.
Yes, probably so. I see a couple of guesses popping in. If you guessed peacock, you're absolutely right. There we go. 20% of the population in the US tend to be peacocks. Peacocks, a couple of details on them. Gosh, they love to use your name. Very dramatic when they talk. Love to joke. We'll turn to the next slide. Couple of quick tips on the peacock. If they tell you a joke, you better laugh at it. The transaction needs to be fun and entertaining. They love talking and chit-chatting. A lot of times salespeople are peacocks. And so, you know, watch for that. Compliments, if you see them in person and they mention what kind of car they have or how much they spent on something, throw a compliment their way. I was just recently working in Springdale with one of the resorts there, and we were laughing about the peacock checking into a hotel. we all were saying, yeah, this is the one that comes in with a Louis Vuitton purse and plunks it down on the front desk. Very, very proud, and says, I'm here to check in. And before we get their name and credit card, we're going to throw a compliment out on that purse, especially when they set it right down in front of us. It makes them feel good. If peacocks are angry, if there's been a situation, they need a ton of empathy. Peacocks are just a lot of fun, very high energy. And we're going to move right on to the next one. Thank you, Abby, for your help. Next, I'm going to ask for Trisha from Parowan. And Trisha, are you okay helping me out?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this one's easy. It's the last one. So Trisha, here's what we're going to do. Colette is going to play the role of my spouse. And I'm going to call you, and then you and I are going to have a quick chit chat. We'll talk. And then I'm going to go to Colette almost like you can't hear us. Colette and I will be almost talking like after I hung up the call, what I thought of the transaction. Okay. All right. So ring, 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 ring.
Hello?
Hi, is this the Parowan Chamber?
It is. This is Trisha with Parowan Chamber. How can I help you?
Hi. I don't, if I've called at a bad time and you're busy, just let me know. I can always call back later.
Nope, this is great.
Are you sure? Because I mean, my question's no big deal if you don't have time.
I'd love to help.
Well, I wanted to we're thinking about opening up a new restaurant in town. And I mean, we might, I'm not sure yet. I'm just, I'm sorry, I've never done this before. And I'm just trying to get some information. And my wife and I wanted to see about how much your membership would be.
Our membership is $100. This is a great community. We would love to have you.
Okay. And do we have to pay that all at once, or do you break it up throughout the year, or how do you work that?
It's all at once. But if you need to wait a couple weeks, let's just get you on board.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to time out right there. And I'm going to go to Colette, my wife. I've now hung up the phone. And Colette?
Yeah.
I just got off the phone with the chamber. I talked to this girl. I think her name was Trisha.
Mm-hmm.
I was asking her how much the membership dues were. It was $100.
A lot.
We're crazy. There's no way $100. I mean, I acted like I was interested, but we can't afford that. That's nuts.
No.
Oh my
Not
God.
with our startup costs. That's too much.
This is just ridiculous. I mean, she seemed friendly and everything, but I mean, there's just no way. I'm sorry. I mean, I know you wanted to join the chamber and you were all gung-ho about it, but we can't afford that.
I mean, I think it has some benefits, but yeah, I'm really unsure.
Okay. Well, when she asked for my phone number, I just made up a number because I didn't want her to feel bad. I just gave her some random number, so we don't have to worry about her calling back.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
All right. Right there. Oh, thank you, Trisha and Colette. Process of elimination. This is our dove. 55% of the population. They're nice people, soft-spoken, gentle, they care. Employees are sometimes these birds too. Doves are very hard workers as employees. The challenge with the dove, and this is the most difficult style of them all, largest, of course, it's the most difficult because they don't always open up to us. And a couple of quick tips. They really prefer a more warm, friendly approach. They don't like to feel like they're being pushed into something. They hate being put on stage. The other day I stopped at a Starbucks. I was working with clients in Texas and I walked into the Starbucks and they must have just went through some customer service training, and everybody behind the counter all at once yelled, "Welcome to Starbucks, welcome to Starbucks." And I was like, oh, if you're a dove, you don't like that type of attention, so loud, so right in your face. You have to really be watchful of the dove. I always look at their body language. They have a very difficult time lying with their body language. And if you're selling, I've got so many tips, but if you're selling, you've got to give them a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a push to do business with us. Otherwise, they always have to check with their wife or check with their husband or their spouse. And so they're definitely a tricky one to sell, but there are things we can do to turn that around. So I appreciate all my volunteers helping me out today. Colette, we'll advance to the next slide. With the birds, I'm going to leave you with this one tip. when businesses are interacting with birds, whether from an employee that's working for one of the businesses, or if it's a customer buying, or we're providing customer service, my biggest tip for you is you always want to mirror back the style that's being delivered to you. If I'm a peacock as your customer or as your employee, you want to mirror back that peacock style with me. I will perform better. I will buy more. I'll leave happier with your customer service. And that's with any of these styles. Mirror back what's being delivered to you. The biggest thing you got to figure out is who people are and what makes them tick. And so I really hope you enjoyed our session here today. If you like what we demonstrated today, you like what you saw, I do all kinds of courses on sales, leadership, customer service, on the birds, and many, many, many other topics. Kaden talked to you about custom fit. I have worked so much in the last 8 or 9 years in Southern Utah, and in almost every case, we've been able to tap into custom fit funding to help businesses pay for training. And we work for any kind of business, hospitality, tourism. Yes, I've trained dental offices, eye clinics in Utah. I've spoken at many, many different events with cable and internet providers. And so if you think there's an opportunity where we can help you, I'll flash my information up on the screen one last time. I'd love for you to reach out and talk with you about how we might help you or one of the businesses in your community. Colette, I'll turn it back over to you. I hope that I have not taken too much time.
No.
So much to share.
That was perfect. Thank you again, Brad. And
My pleasure.
again, the reason why I wanted to bring Brad today is just first off to give you some skills. I mean, even for all of us who are, chamber professionals, and we've worked, many of us in customer service for a long amount of time, we can always use tips. And like I said, I use these birds every single day in interacting with the clients that I work with, and trying to provide the best service. And again, it's really about providing access to resources. And again, the reason why we're talking about this today is how you as chamber members and chamber leaders are here to provide value to your customers, which are the business members in your community. And so when our businesses invest in their employees, they don't have to give them a raise, or they don't have to give them a promotion to make those employees feel like they're invested in. Providing training for them and giving them those opportunities to improve themselves and give them skills so they're better on the job is a huge, huge investment. And again, if you can help facilitate that for your local businesses, it's just a win all the way around. And we have, like I said, we've trained actually thousands of people in Kane County with this business model to bring in the training, and not only with Brad, but with others. And what we've done is we've combined the custom fit training, which will cover the 40% or up to 40%. And then we've taken funding from the county economic development, again, through the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. We have rural county grant money that goes through to your economic development offices to the tune of $200,000 per year. And part of that can be earmarked for training. You need to work with your economic development director and board. We also use travel and tourism money. So we have the head and bed tax, TRT money, and we've used TRT money to pay for hospitality training and pay that additional 60%. So we can bring trainings at no cost to our hospitality employers. And then we've also had private businesses chip in and sponsor, or the chamber has sponsored. And where the chamber comes in is we can help recruit trainers and line up the funding and help sponsor the event and host the event, set up the training location, set up a meal or snacks for those coming through to get training. We actually just did training last week in Beaver, and we trained approximately 80 people. And that was just a collaboration between my office, their economic development office, and Kaden and Brad. And so again, we can absolutely work together to get additional training to our businesses. And that's a value added from their chamber as part of their chamber membership as well. And before we transition, to our next speaker, I just want everyone to self-identify which bird they are in the chat. I would like to see if you have been able to self-analyze and see which category you fit in. I am a self-proclaimed peagle and a little bit eagle, a little bit peacock. So most people that know me would probably agree with that, or some might think I'm all peacock, but just drop that in the chat. I want to see what everyone thinks they are.
Colette, all of our doves that are coming in are so thankful I didn't call on them to jump on the camera and role play.
Well, and again, learning how to match someone's energy and learning, whenever I have a new employee, I label them right away. And so I can meet their energy and, be sure to recognize them appropriately, either privately or publicly. So I use this with customers. I use this with employees that I manage. I use this in my personal relationships. So again, just great information. So thanks again, Brad. So we're going to go ahead and transition now to James Ray. He is with Be Ready Utah. And actually, Tricia, I'm going to have you just put James in as a co-host so he can share his screen. We're so thankful to have James on the call today with all of our flooding issues that we're having across the state. We've still got a little ways to go this spring and early summer before we're out of that scary phase where we may get some additional flooding. And we want to make sure that our businesses have information to be prepared for natural disasters and beyond. So we'll go ahead and turn the time over to James.
Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Oh, yeah, there we go. Thanks. I can share my screen. I'll share that right now. So, yeah, James Ray. I work with the Department of Public Safety, Utah Division of Emergency Management. And within that division, we have this educational campaign called Be Ready Utah. And Be Ready Utah has multiple aspects of it. If you go to our website, it's beready.utah.gov. And I can actually copy that and put that in the chat. I get that right there in the chat. There you go. And then within here, we've got four different categories that we're looking at. We've got our family aspect, our business, private sector aspect, our schools, and our communities. My particular role is for our Be Ready business side of things. So I kind of head off all of that. So private sector resilience is the name of my game. I want to try to encourage all businesses to be resilient. So one of those things, if you visit that page right there, you can get there a couple of ways, either at the top navigation bar or just right down there. This is our Be Ready business page. And there are a ton of resources that we offer for private sector to use right now. They can tap into it. They can utilize the resources right at their fingertips to help them become more resilient. So within the Be Ready business scope, there's two kind of key phrases that are important for private sector. One is business continuity, and the other is emergency response plans. And business continuity is in its basic function. If you have an essential function of your business, what's your alternative if it fails, right? That's business continuity. From an emergency response side of things, it's the basics there is if you have an essential function that fails, how are you going to respond to that? Or if you have a crisis of some sort that happens, a natural disaster like flooding, right? What is going to be your reaction to that? How do you respond? And that constitutes your emergency response plan. So there's both of those aspects in this. But I want to get into a moment. Why does that matter? Why does it matter to businesses? Well, if you enjoy a paycheck, then it matters to you, right? You want your business to thrive because it provides the means to provide, right? If you're an owner, you've had so much time and attention trying to build this business. You don't want one event to close your doors. Something we can't control is Mother Nature. We can't control what others kind of throw at us, but we can control our readiness. On terms of liability, business continuity and emergency response really helps you play that get out of jail free card, right? Yeah, for those of you who know Monopoly. From a reputation standpoint, business continuity and emergency response really enhances your company's image and credibility. And from a competitive advantage standpoint, continuity, that process of planning for continuity really has a way of improving your organization's operations and making you a lot more sleek. And also your ability to respond, recover, resume is oftentimes a differentiator. And it's becoming more common for companies, in order for you to win that contract, to have a continuity plan in place, because other companies want to trust that you're going to still be there, and that you're going to be consistent and reliable. So a few very basic reasons of why it's important, but I want to show you some of the resources that you can tap into to kind of really help you get going. First of all, if you're on just on our main page, we have this thing right here, right at the front top. You can request us to come to your events to do preparedness related presentations on almost any of the topics. If you click on that, it's a quick Google form, and there's some ideas of things you could pick from. But if you have something else in mind, you can click other and just tell us what you're looking for, right? And we'll contact you and come to you, or we can do it virtually, or we can do a booth at your event, or whatever it is. Also on the business side, particularly, every week, at least once a week, I send out an email that is filled with resources, learning, educational tools, templates, all sorts of things, and it's different every week. That is in relation to continuity and emergency response and risk management. And so feel free to subscribe for our emails and let your businesses know that they can subscribe to that. Now, for chambers, this can be particularly useful for you. If you're looking for content that you want to share forward to your private sector audience, feel free to beg and borrow from what I'm sending out to you as a resource in your pocket to say, hey, look at all of these things that we as a chamber can provide to you. And you can just utilize my information to just kind of help share that information. So feel free to use that. Another tool I want to show you is our calendar. Right there, there's a little calendar icon. There is a business, private sector related calendar with all sorts of webinars, conferences, events. If you guys have stuff you want me to put on the calendar, by all means, let me know. But feel free to use this as an opportunity to say, oh, here's training opportunities that are coming up, educational things for whoever in the office it applies to, right? So feel free to tap into that. Additionally, we have what's called our business continuity planning toolbox. And I want to show you what this looks like. For all of the 15 points of business continuity planning, we've got educational material. If you click on any one of these things, like let's talk about emergency response plans, it pops up the slide deck and all of the learning content, the talking points for every single one of those principles. And then there's associated links to various tools and resources throughout. So accessible. You can access it now. Whoever in your office can utilize the information now. But here's another thing as well. Up here, just right closer to the top of this downloads section. Now, just to remind you where I'm at, I'm on the Make a Plan business page. I just went to the Be Ready Business Toolkit and it popped up right to this page. If you go to the top and you click on Make a Plan Business, it brings you right to this. But right here, the very first one in the download section opens up a publicly accessible Google Drive with all of the tools, templates, resources, things that you need to start becoming resilient. And this folder right here, the BCP training folder, has all of the slide decks for every single one of the units associated with business continuity planning learning. Now, here's what a couple things to know about. One, I can come to you guys and do this training. Two, you could just utilize the information on your own and do the training yourself. Three, we are working with the University of Utah, and by May 29th this year, in just a few days, the University of Utah is going to be unveiling all of those slide decks, all of the learning point, all of that content is going to be available in a free online self-paced learning environment that you get a certificate of completion, and there's a test associated with it. And it's not difficult, but it's free and available to help educate. This makes it a lot more doable for small and medium-sized businesses who typically don't have the funds to hire on a specific business continuity professional, but can take in-house staff and educate and start putting something together based on what you have and what you are. So just a few resources right there to kind of help you out. Hopefully those are useful. Go ahead, peruse all of that information, find out what's useful for you, subscribe to the email list because I'm constantly pumping out new information that is all related to this kind of stuff. And then also, I want to bring your attention to this. If you're interested in knowing what is going on flood-wise throughout the state, if you go to our Be Ready Utah homepage, right at the top for now, right, because it's flood season, we've got this flood preparedness page and the link right to it. If in the future you're thinking, oh, there's flood related information, if you go down to our Utah hazards page and then scroll down to floods, again, tons of topics we can present on any of these. If you go to the floods page, there's a couple of things to know about. One is right here, the flood forecast map. I'll show you what this looks like. This is with the NOAA, National Weather Services, and they have this flood map that shows specific flood stages throughout the state of Utah. So no matter where you're at, you can kind of see, oh, this is an area of concern, right? You can kind of keep your eyes on them. Also, if you go to floodhazards.utah.gov, I'm going to navigate right there. There's a couple of other places that are useful for you to know exactly what's going on in the state. One, there's this live cameras on rivers and streams, and I'll show you that just really quick. Not every stream, but the streams that are named, you can actually access a live camera and see what the stream is looking like right now. So that's just a resource. The other one on that floodhazards.utah.gov page is right here, 2023 Floods Info Hub. If you click on that one, there's a couple of things that you'll see. I want to bring your attention right down to the bottom where it says Daily Situational Report. So as of right now, this is the report, and you can click on whichever region you're in. Here's the map, and here's the thing that kind of helps you know which region is which. And if you click on something, you can read specific information to each of the counties and what is going on there, and kind of stay appraised as to what is going on now. One other thing to know about, let's see, flood forecasts right here. That right now they're showcasing 4 different areas of high concern: the Bear River, the South Fork in Ogden, and Sevier River, and then the Bear River area. Those are 4 areas that they're highlighting. And so again, one additional place you can go together to piecemeal accurate information as to what's happening right now. So anyways, just so for your awareness and so that you know, with that, do I have any questions?
We're running into our time. We try and stay right at 1 hour. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and James can go ahead and answer those through chat, or you can stay on afterwards. And if James, if you're available, you could answer questions after. But thank you so much. This helps us inform our businesses and help our communities be prepared for natural disasters. We've learned so much from you today. So thank you. We'll turn the time over to Abby now to introduce our next speaker.
So we've got Patsy Stoddard with the Emery County Chamber of Commerce, and she's going to share what's going right for her chamber.
Yes, thank you for asking me to do this. Of course, I get very excited to talk about our chamber because we do a lot of different things. In December, we always have our Shop Local program, and we have these things called chamber bucks that I've designed. And when we give out our chamber bucks, then whoever wins them can go to any of these businesses that are listed on the buck, and then they can spend them there, kind of just like a coupon. And then our chamber reimburses that business. And that's been very successful to get people out to the different businesses in our area. So we always get really excited about chamber bucks. And I've had people that come in and purchase them to give to their employees for gifts. And we're partnering with the Emery County this year and helping them at their fair. And they're also going to give out chamber bucks for prizes. So another thing that we do, we have monthly lunch and learns, and we do different informational topics. And our presenter that was just there a minute ago, we've actually had Be Ready Utah Business come and present at one of our lunch and learns. And so that was very informative. And at our lunch and learns, we try to use local caterers. We ask different businesses to cater our lunches so that we kind of spread and share that business with them. Another thing that I get really excited about is our grant program. We're working with Emery County, and I administer the business improvement grant program. It's up to $20,000. A business can match that, and they can use it for signage and remodels of their business and just facade improvements, landscaping, just a lot of different things that they can use that for. And so we partner with Emery County on that, and I administer that program for them. And so we get really excited about giving money to our businesses so that they can improve, because as you know, some of our small businesses don't have a lot of money that they can use for improvements. And so we're really excited about that grant program. We've been able to help a lot of businesses. We're right in the middle of that right now. I have another deadline on June 1st. And then if I'm not out of money by July 1st, I have another deadline for our grant program. We also, in our chamber, we have a revolving loan fund program. And so businesses can apply for up to $40,000. Of course, they have to pay that back, but at least it gives them an opportunity, another funding source. And so we're excited about that. And I try to put a lot of different things up on our Facebook, and the things from the emergency preparedness, I'll put a lot of things up there about that, and just anything that's going on in our community. I try to share all of those things on our Facebook and just help people to know that we're here and we're active and we're doing things for our community and for our businesses. And so we put up all kinds of information, everything that we have. We try to go to a lot of different events and be there and have booths. We have the Carbon Emery Business Expo next Tuesday, and we're going to have a booth there. We'll have our grant programs and different things available there, and it's just going to be an open house where businesses can come. There's going to be a lot of different businesses there, and they're going to give out their information to help other businesses. So we do get really excited about that and being involved in our community. And then we are helping with the fair this year and just a lot of different things in our community. And I think, I not say that's it, but we do a lot of other things. We do ribbon cuttings. And so So we just try to promote our businesses, any way that we can. And we're just excited to be here and help our businesses. And I just thank you for asking me. Does anyone have any questions?
I love the chamber bucks. Maybe we can get like a sample of that and we'll put it on our website. That's such a
Yeah.
great idea. I love that.
Well, and I had a question about your revolving loan fund. Is that like, do you charge interest and how many years out do you go kind of thing, or?
We go out 6 years and we kind of let the person, they can kind of say, oh, I want to pay it back in 2 years, and then we set up their payment plan, to pay that back in 2 years. But we do string it out as far as 6 years, and it's prime +2. That's our interest rate, because we're not, trying to compete with banks or credit unions or anything like that, but we want to give them just another funding source. And so yeah, so some people use it for equipment. There's just a lot of different things. We've just funded a lot of different things over the years. But yeah, we love our chamber bucks. They're so fun.
Yeah, what a good idea.
I was going to ask, how old is your chamber? Is it a newer chamber or has it been around for many, many years?
We're really old. Well, since 1977.
Wow.
So we've been around a long time. And of course, it's been restructured, a time or two. And I've been in this position as chamber director for the last 3 years. So.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you got a lot of great information you can take back to your chambers from this. We appreciate you all so much, and we will see you in June, if not before, because we talk to a lot of you often. So thank you so much. And then Abby, Colette, and Chris, if you have time, if you guys can stay on the call, and then does anybody wait before people start getting off? Does anybody have any questions?
Nope. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Good to see everyone. Bye-bye.